Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Jaya Prabhupada Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Srila Prabhupada ki Nitai Gaura Premanande.
Welcome back to our broadcast at ISV, everyone. Thank you for joining us online from various places from around the world. And thank you very much, Saidev Prabhu, Mahaguna, Jagarini, Kurnath, Sunanda Prabhu, for being here tonight. And all the other guests who have assembled here in the live ISV studios. Today we're celebrating Shri Gaur Purnima and also the Haribo, and also the culmination of our recent campaign to popularize the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Tonight also is the end of that campaign, during which we had various seminars to highlight the glories of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, readings of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, and also the distribution. And we also highlighted the marathon through which the book was published in 2 months. Hare Krishna. So tonight we're going to be, is there anything online, announcements, something coming? No. Okay. Nama Om Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Sri Mate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktabinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shivasari Gaura Bhaktabinda. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Haribo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Rama Rama Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna Krishna Krishna
Prabhupada.
Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gauranga. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna
Haribo. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare
Hare Gaur Premanande Nitai Gaura Haribo 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 Nitai Gaura Haribo Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama,
Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jai Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama.
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jai Gaur Premanande Hari Hari Bol. Om Jnana Timirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Vidhitam Dena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Welcome, His Grace Shyamasundar Prabhu. Thank you very much for joining us. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much, everyone, for coming for Gaur Purnima. This is an unusual time, being hopefully near the tail end of a world catastrophic event, during which time devotees all over the world mobilized and discovered new ways to spread Krishna consciousness, as they like to do, against all odds. Srila Prabhupada, against all odds, brought Krishna consciousness to the West. I heard him speaking this morning about how he had received an order from his spiritual master, and Prabhupada said, he forced me several times. He said he forced me. He forced me to take sannyas. How did he force? Prabhupada explained he came in a dream several times and told him, you have to do this. And Prabhupada, he said, I was not inclined, but he forced me. And then he ordered me, the first time that I met, he said that you should go and preach to the people in the Western countries, because he could understand, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta could, that Srila Prabhupada was highly educated and sophisticated spiritually. He saw that in him immediately and gave him that instruction, which Prabhupada then, as he said, kept in his heart and obviously manifested just by his determination to fulfill the order of his spiritual master. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was not known to people in the Western world at all. In fact, when Srila Prabhupada began preaching, there were various professors who had niche areas of study in academics, religious studies, who recognized this is unusual, that Gaudiya Vaishnavism had arrived in the West and been transplanted. That was breaking out all over the place, New York, San Francisco, New Mexico, Montreal, London, from one place to the next. And some of these people who knew the history of religion in India saw something very unusual happening. And it really is rare. In fact, it's rare in the world that anybody takes a spiritual life, especially in Kali Yuga. People are very distracted. Prayanal Payusha Shavya Kalavas Menyuge Jana Manda Sumanda. They have really bad ideas. Manda Sumanda Matayo. They think of really stupid things and then carry them out on a grand scale. So Prabhupada said this is a colossal hoax. And Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, when appearing in India over 550 years ago, was coming for his own reasons and for his routine reasons also. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is for those who know the secret, the Supreme Personality of Godhead Himself. Krishna Varnam Tvusha Krishnam Sangopang Sangasha Parshadam Jagnai Sankajana Prayera Yajantihi Sumedasa. Of course, Karabhajana Muni gives this hint that those like Rupa and Sanatana Goswami bring out Jiva Goswami to the world, that this is the indication of the Chana avatar, who's also mentioned. Itam Nitirya Grishi Deva Jashavatarar. In Prahlad Maharaj's prayers, he mentions how the Lord is Tri-yuga. He appears in 3 yugas. This was a point of contention with Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya. When Gopinath Acharya was presenting, this is Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, is the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya said, how can that be? He's Tri-yuga. He doesn't appear in Kali Yuga. And Gopinath pointed out that actually he's Chana avatar. He appears, but he's in a disguised form. And Srila Prabhupada explains, he gives very simple talks on Gaur Purnima. And he explains why he's Chana, or covered in the Kali Yuga. He says that Krishna gave this instruction, Sarvadhraman Parityaja mamekam sharanam vraja aham tang sarvapapebhyo mokshishami masucha. Prabhupada said, he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead, so he can demand that we surrender to him. So Prabhupada puts it like that. He demanded this. You surrender. But then Prabhupada said hardly anybody did, because there it is in the Bhagavad Gita. Krishna said it. And of course, it's a good idea. Sarvadharman parityaja. Because what does he say? Just leave it to me, surrender to me, and I'll deliver you from all sinful reactions. But the reaction of the world was, meh, maybe not. Maybe we'll go on with our nonsense in Kali Yuga and just ignore everything. And actually that's been the trend over the last several hundred years, divorce of religion from higher thought processes, people becoming more fanatical, radicalized, taking up religious processes. Do you think that's a true assessment, Gurunath?
Yes.
Thank you. And so, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu very mercifully came to help people understand how to sarvadharma parityaja, if I can put it like that. How do you surrender the Supreme Personality of Godhead? He took us by the hand. As Prabhupada says, a teacher will take the hand of the student and write the letter. Here's how you do it. But we shouldn't think, Prabhupada says in the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, that actually the teacher's learning because he's writing deliberately and slowly that this is A, B. But actually, he's showing. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to show how to surrender. Of course, as we learn from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, there were other reasons. There are external reasons and internal reasons for Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's appearance. Externally, it was actually the time for him to appear. He appears every day of Brahma in this world, in Kali Yuga, in order to spread the Yuga Dharma. However, as we learn from Rupa Goswami in the Lakhu Bhagavatamrita, actually, normally it's an empowered jiva who comes to do that, to spread the Yuga Dharma, which is chanting the holy name in the Kali Yuga. But in this Kali Yuga, because of his confluence of various reasons, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appeared. He gave a different kind of distribution of the holy names, which is described in the Beda Kirtan pastimes when Maharaj Prataparudra is watching the devotees of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu arrive in Jagannath Puri. And they're singing kirtan. And at that time, Prataparudra Maharaj, who's seen everything. If you're the king of Puri, you've seen everything. Anybody who's been to Rath Yatra in Jagannath Puri knows. Everybody comes. Buddhists come, Christians come. Every kind of Hindu group in the world comes. Jai Shri Shri Radhamadan Mohanji Ki Jai, Shriman Mahaprabhu Ki Jai, Shri Panchatattva Ki Jai, Shri Shri Lakshmana Shinga Ji. Everybody comes to worship Chakodola. Chakodola, the round-eyed Lord. And they all worship him in their own ways. Madhavananda was also speaking about this. Remember Satyadev Prabhu, he was talking about how all the different kinds of people who come to Puri, everybody comes to see Jagannath and worship him in their own way. Of course, Krishna says, Yata mam prapadyante tam stataiva bhajamyaham mama bart manuvatante manusha parta sarvasha. He'll reciprocate anybody who comes to him. So, Prataparuja had seen all kinds of people beating all kinds of drums, beating all kinds of instruments and playing this and singing that and worshiping in this way and that way. And when he saw Advaita Acharya and all the devotees from Navadvip who had just shown up, Judges? Okay, shown or showed. And there he was, his mouth agape, looking at this and observing. He said, what is this? What are they doing? I've never heard anything like this before. This is the kirtan they were singing. If we could only hear that. Of course, we heard it with Prabhupada because he brought the same vibration. And what was it? It was Prem Sankirtan. That's what he says it is. This is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's own brand called Prem Sankirtan. It's the same thing, chanting the holy names of the Lord, but it's imbued with his special prema. So Prabhupada brought that out to the world in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. It's amazing that he was in such a hurry to get it out to the world. He was so eager that everyone should have it and that we shouldn't miss a verse. That, of course, as we heard recently and have heard many times about the marathon through which Prabhupada got the book published, the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, within 2 months. And in it, we find out the inner desires of the Supreme Personality of Godhead and why he came. This is called revealed scriptures. We find out the inner workings of the mind of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. How is that possible? Because he can't conceal himself to the devotees. It's mentioned by Brahma in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam, where he says, Gyane prayasa mudapasya namanta eva jivanti san mukharitam bhavadiya vartam stane stita shrutikatan tanavan manobir ye prayaso jita jito pyasitais trilokyam. Those who have fully dedicated themselves to submissively serving the Lord, body, mind, and words, hearing his topics, become so in love with the Lord that the Lord submits himself to them. Jitta, ajita becomes jitta, becomes the unconquerable becomes conquered. And he reveals himself. In fact, he can't hide himself. We know Ramananda Roy would see, as he was speaking to Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, the combined form of Radha Krishna. And therefore, Sri Krishna Chaitanya Radha Krishna Nahi Anya is mentioned in that section of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Why? Because Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was speaking to his pure devotee, and he couldn't hide his form as Radha and Krishna combined. And then we hear about this. So we hear from the diary of Sarup Damodar within the Mangalacharana of the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. He describes who is Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Of course, Kaviraj Goswami begins the Chaitanya Charitamrita by offering his obeisances. Vande Shri Krishna Chaitanya Nityanando Sahodito Gaurudai Pushpavanto Chitro Shando Tamonudao. Actually, that's not how he starts. What's the first verse? Vande Guru Nisha Bhaktan Ishan Ishan Vatarakam Taprakasham Statach Shakti Krishna Chaitanya Samdikam. So he offers obeisances to the gurus, plural, and all the Lord's different expansions, the Lord himself. And then he mentions how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and Lord Nityananda have appeared simultaneously on the horizon of Gauda. to dissipate the darkness of ignorance and thus wonderfully bestow benediction upon all. And then he says, Yaradvaitam Brahmoparishadi Apyatanasya. Okay. Slow down, Vaisesika. What is the verse? Yaradvaitam Brahmopanishadi Tatapyasya Tanubha Yaatman Tarayami Purusha Iti Sosham Sabibabaha Shadaishvarya Punor Yo Iha Bhagavan Saswayamayam Chaitanyat Krishna Jagati Paratapvam Paramiha. So here he's fleshing out the verse from the Srimad Bhagavatam, Vedanti tat tat pavridas tattvam yaj jnanamadvayam brahmeti pramatmeti bhagavaniti shabdite. Quintessential description of a dvaya gyan tattva, the absolute truth, is manifest in three ways, as Brahman, Paramatma, and Bhagavan. So here Kaviraj Goswami then says Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is all three of those because he's the Supreme Personality of Godhead. And what was his will? He describes then, Anarpita charim chirat karuna yavatirna kalo samarpayitumunatojvala rasam sopakti shriyam hari purata sundara dyuti kadamba sandipita sadahradaya kandare spuratuva shachinandana. That Krishna was thinking that I haven't bestowed my special mercy on the people of the world for a long time. Anarpita charim chirat. For a long time I've not given this knowledge about myself. And what is it? This verse is, for lack of a better term, unpacked a little later by Kaviraj Goswami, and he says, what did Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come to teach? What was his, besides the Yuga Dharma and giving Prem Sankirtan, what was his purpose externally? And that was to teach about Raga Bhakti, spontaneous devotional service. He says, does Kaviraj Goswami, he indicates the way Krishna's thinking, that by following Vaidhi Bhakti rules and regulations, that one goes to Vaikuntha, but only by this specialized kind of internal cultivation of following in the footsteps of the residents of Raja, who are worshiping Krishna in unceremonious love, can one come to Goloka Vrindavan. So he says the purpose of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's coming externally was to teach this Rag Bhakti specifically, so that the people of the world would know that actually Krishna favors this kind of love. Nayam sukapo bhagavan dehinam gopikasta jnaninam chatmabhutanam yata bhaktimatam iha. Chaitanya Mahaprabhu quotes this verse from the Bhagavatam several times. Once when he's with Vyankatabhata, and they're talking about the difference between Vaikuntha and Goloka. And Vyankatabhata, of course, is attached to the on-reverence of worshipping Narayan and Vaikuntha. And Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was jokingly instructing him, speaking to him in a lighthearted manner. Said, well, yeah, then why is it that Lakshmi wanted to enter into the rasa dance and perform austerities, severe austerities to try to do that, and she wasn't able to do it? And he gives the answer, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nayam Sukapo Bhagavan Dehinam Gopika Sutta. Those who don't have the kind of feeling, the spontaneous feeling of love for Krishna that the residents of Vrindavan have, can't actually, Krishna doesn't consider that so well. However, nothing can compare, says the verse, to this feeling of the residents of Vrindavan. And this is confirmed also in the Chaitanya Manjusha, a verse that Prabhupada quoted frequently, where Arajo Bhagavan Vrajesha Tanayas Tadhama Vrindavana Ramya Kachirupasana Vrajavidu Vargina Vokalpita. He says in the second line that the method conceived by the gopis of Vrindavan is the highest method of worshiping the Supreme Personality of Godhead. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came to teach this secret that there are these relationships in Goloka Vrindavan that Krishna enjoys more than anything else. For instance, when he's with his friends. Of course, if you go to Goloka, which I'm sure all of you are, please send a note back. No one there thinks he's God. We just love him. We don't think he's God. They think Narayan's God. And they pray to Narayan, Nanda and Yashoda to protect Krishna. And if you say, he's God, no, he's God. And they'll say, okay, whatever, but he's still our friend. And in that friendship, Kaviraj Goswami says, the friends wrestle with Krishna. They say, you're not so big. You're not such a big man. I could take you any day. I could take you 3 times out of 3. Let's go again. And they're wrestling. And then he says, does Kaviraj Goswami, that the ways in which his lovers berate him, that Krishna sometimes comes to see Srimati Radharani, and one of her friends comes out and said, whoop, not so fast, she doesn't want to see you. You can go home. You're not needed here. And they'll say things disparaging things about Krishna in this mood of man, of being angry at Krishna for various reasons, lovers' quarrels. And Kaviraj Goswami says in the Adi Lila of the Chaitanya Charitamrita, a book Prabhupada had, there was 17 volumes he asked us to distribute. He asked the devotees then to print 20,000 copies. 20,000 times 17, please. Mathematicians, no calculators, please. Use Vedic math. Huh? Balaram's got it. What is it? 340,000 hardback books, Prabhupada. They had in Tennessee, by the way, Ekachakraprand, in Tennessee, they filled up the trains full of Chaitanya Charitamritas. Prabhupada wanted that information. What information? That when his lovers, when he comes to see, they say, get out of here. We don't want to talk to you. And this is one of the reasons, the external reasons, why Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came, why Krishna came as Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, to teach everyone about this process. His disciples carried it forward. In the Upadeshamrita, we hear about the gradual process through which one can cultivate that, where Rupa Goswami says, what verse am I thinking? Tadnama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtananu Smrityo Kramena Rasa Manasi. I'm sorry. Tadnama Rupa Charitadi Sukirtananu Smrityo Kramena Rasana Manasiniyoja Tishtam Vraje Tananuragi Jananugami Kalam Nyayed Akilam Ityupadesha Saram. Rupa Goswami says this is the essence of all advice in all the bhakti scriptures, is that we're meant to follow this system that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave, to follow the residents of Vrindavan, the mood. How? By the system that Srila Prabhupada taught us, which is very simple actually. We follow the rules and regulations of set down by Rupa and Sanatan Goswami, which was taught to them by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, very strictly. And gradually, there's a way in which, through hearing, over long periods of time, one develops an attraction for a particular resident of Vrindavan. Tishtam vraje tanaruragi jananugami, and one then becomes a follower of a particular parishad or eternal associate of the Lord in Vrindavan, who worships the Lord in a particular mood of ragatmika bhakti. Spontaneous, unceremonious love. That's the essence. And that's what Chaitanya Mahaprabhu actually came to teach. And that's what we actually do in our ISKCON movement by following what Srila Prabhupada gave us. That is following Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. All the processes that we have, hearing Srimad Bhagavatam every day, he instituted daily Srimad Bhagavatam class as a minimum. And of course, there were many other classes as well to hear and hear and hear and hear. And that is the gateway to coming to the perfectional stage of life, which is to develop attraction for the residents of Vrindavan and their mood of worshiping Krishna. So that was one external reason Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came. And the second is, and we'll see if we can emulate this, Srila Advaita Acharya's loud cries. In fact, Mahaprabhu mentions his cries were Advaita Acharya's so loud that although he was sitting here in the material realm, Advaita Acharya, and calling out to the Lord, Mahaprabhu later on says, "You shook my asana." It was so loud. And he was calling out again and again, saying, "Please come, please come." So he yelled very loudly, Krishna, on three. 1, 2, 3. Krishna! That was about a 0.01 on an Advaita Acharya scale. But this is a good point also. If you really want devotional service, follow Advaita Acharya and call out Krishna and, shake the asan somewhere, wherever the Lord's sitting, that this poor fellow really, really wants me. This is the process to sing out. Otherwise, it's not so attractive. Anyway, the process of Advaita Acharya was to call out to the Lord. He had compassion, and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu came because of the loud cries of Advaita Acharya. In fact, we find in the pastimes of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that he executed his mission as the carrier of the Yuga Dharma for some time. He went down to South India. He went barefoot from village to village, taught everyone, sit down, chant together, and do this process of Sankirtan, which he cooked up at the house of Srivas Thakur and then brought out into the streets and then brought everywhere in the world, the Yuga Dharma, through which anybody could attain perfection of life. Kalim sabhajiyantyarya gunagya sarabhagina yatra sankirtanenaiva sarvaswarto bilabhyate. All perfections will come by the process of Sankirtan. He was teaching everybody this from village to village. And then Advaita Acharya sent him a note saying that everybody's been taken care of. There's enough rice in the marketplace now. And after that, Chaitanya Mahaprabhu went into his internal Leela in Jagannath Puri with his most intimate associates. And as Kaviraj Goswami describes, his pastimes then became mad performances. And there he's tasting why he came and for the internal reasons he came, which are described in the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. First, however, just a little bit of ontology in the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Then we hear from Kaviraj Goswami, who writes, Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Hladini Shakti Rasmad Ekat Mana Vapi Bhuvi Purit Dehet Deha Katao Tao. Blew it. Radha, so how's it start? No, how's it start? Radha Krishna Pranaya Vikriti Hladini Shakti Rasmat Ekat Manav Api Bhuvi Pura Deha Bedam Gatao Tao Chaitanyakyam Prakatamaduna Tatvayam Chaikyam Aptam Radha Bhava Duti Suvalitam Naumi Krishna Sarupam. Did anybody see the moon this morning it was stunning, wasn't it? And it's coming up again tonight. And in this poem written, poetical verse, describing how Chaitanya Mahaprabhu appears as the moon appears to rise from the ocean. And so he appeared from the ocean of the womb of Srimati Sachi Devi. And this is a description of the ontological fact that Radha and Krishna, the Lord Ekopahushyam, he's one, but he expands himself for his own pleasure. And now the Supreme Personality of Godhead, since a time immemorial, has expanded himself into his feminine counterpart, Srimati Radharani, to enjoy pastimes of love. The whole thing's about a love affair, this whole thing, the whole creation, ultimately. And the spiritual world, it's all a big soap opera, really. And, it's all about a love affair. And everybody's absorbed in it 24 hours a day. And so that love affair is going on in the spiritual world. It's the completely absorbing pastime that's there. And so he describes, Kaviraj Goswami, that now, however, for his own purposes, those two, okay, sorry, no Sanskrit. Aduna, now, however, those two have become one in Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. Isn't that beautiful? So Radha and Krishna now combine and now have Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, that one has appeared in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from the womb of Srimati Sachi Devi, the way that the moon appears from the ocean. And so Radha Krishna pranaya vikriti hladini shakti rasmat, to enjoy a loving pastimes, pranaya. So there are two. Otherwise, what's the use of being the supreme unless you can enjoy the admiration of your lovers and your appreciators? That's why the living entities exist, to appreciate the Lord. That's all we are, is appreciators. That's not a small thing, it's a big thing. And so now they've become one, and in the next verse, he describes, does Kaviraj Goswami, why? Why did he become one? It's out of lobha, a kind of greed. And what is that greed? He wanted to know, Sri Radhaya Pranaya Mahimaha Kidrisho Vanayayeva Svadyo Yena Bhuta Madharima Kidrishova Mariyaha Saukyam Chasya Mad Anubhavita Kidrisham Beti Lobad Tadbhava Dya Samajani Sachi Garba Sindhu Harindu. He wanted to know he wanted to understand what is the greatness of Srimati Radharani's love, because as the object of love, he can't taste that. Only the one who's seeing Krishna and loving him can taste that. And therefore, out of his greed, because he's the supreme enjoyer, he's saying, what's going on here? And Kaviraj Goswami says, what's going on is Srimati Radharani and her associates enjoy more than Krishna. Because Krishna's so sweet, their love, through their love, they're tasting greater happiness than the supreme enjoyer. That's not right. So he comes to taste it for himself, and that's why Radha and Krishna combine and come in the form of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And of course, Krishna is always, in his pastimes, just one example, in the Rasa Leela, he leaves. Why does he leave? To see what is Srimati Radharani's reaction going to be when he's not there. What is the greatness, mahima, of her love for me? He wants to know. And he wants to know also, what is the happiness she feels when she sees me? Because there's a competition, Prabhupada explains, always going on between Radha and Krishna. Each one of them is enjoying a kind of happiness and sweetness, but then they increase in their beauty and their sweetness, and then eternally that's increasing. And he wanted to see, what is it that Srimati Radharani's tasting? The love that she feels for me, the greatness of that love, the happiness that she feels in that love. Shri Radhaya Pranaya Mahima Kidrisho Vanayaiva Swadyo Yena Bhuta Madharima Kidrisho Vaniyaha. So these are the internal reasons that the Lord appears. Obviously, when he comes in any form, he can fulfill many purposes at the same time. So we happen to be recipients of that. That is the conjunction of timing, that there's a way in which the Yuga avatar comes, but this time Krishna came in this Kali Yuga. And he came to give Prem Sankirtan, that's a big deal. And he also came to teach Raganuga Bhakti, that's also a big deal. He also had his own internal purposes of tasting the love that Srimati Radharani has for him. So he's in combined form. So there are a lot of benefits to that. One of them is described by Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur when he says that if a person, say the emperor, very wealthy man, gets intoxicated, he takes one day in intoxication, he goes to the treasury. He takes out all the most precious gems and heirlooms, brings them in a sack down to the common road, and singing, and you know how people sometimes do in intoxication, they lose themselves. He just starts giving them away to everybody, all the passers-by. So in a similar way, we've caught the Supreme Personality of Godhead in this particular mood of intoxication and love for himself, through which he's distributing freely to anybody. Doesn't matter who you are, you can be a bum, and he'll give it to you because he doesn't recognize that. He's not requiring anything. He's not even saying sarvadharman parityaja. He's just saying, here, take it. I'm giving it out free to everybody. That's the Hare Krishna movement. That's what Prabhupada did. He just went around and everyone said, these are bums. You can't give them Vedic culture. And he said, just watch. And he did it. And he gave it through the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We're recipients. And his mercy is being manifest all over the world. When Chaitanya Mahaprabhu wants something to happen, it happens. With us or without us, anybody can take up the order. And that's another big deal, that Chaitanya Mahaprabhu then gave us service. He said, wherever you go, whomever you meet, teach them about Krishna consciousness. You don't have to teach all this other stuff where it's Gaur Purnima, so we're talking about internal, external reasons. All you have to teach them is Bhagavad Gita and Hare Krishna. And if you teach Hare Krishna and Bhagavad Gita and give them lots of prasadam, they'll be on the Rag Marg, believe it or not, because they're following Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and his devotees, and they'll pick up on the vibration of the Prem Sankirtan. And Tesham Satata Yuktanam Vachatam Priti Purvakam Tadami Buddhi Yogam Tam Yenamam Upayanti Te. Krishna will help from within to enlighten those who take to the path. So my point is, he said everyone should become responsible. We take responsibility for this. It's a great thing to have associates and friends who make you become responsible, isn't it? Yeah. And they convince you. You have to take responsibility and do this, whatever it is that's important. And then you do it because they tell you have to do it. And then you get all the benefits from that. So Satyadev Prabhu always helps me by trying to encourage me to be more responsible. Right, Satya? You know, one thing I'm going to really appreciate after the pandemic is over and we can take our masks off is that I can tell what expressions people have on their face and what I have on mine. Because a lot of times people look at me and I can't tell. Like, what are you thinking, you know? Do you know what I'm thinking? You can't tell, can you? We're very fortunate. And also, we have service. This is the point. We have service. It was left by Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. It's a rope. You can grab onto it. And if you grab that rope of service, you can go all the way back to Goloka Vrindavan by Prabhupada's mercy, because he gave the whole process in such a nice package, just organized it for us so we could taste it ourselves to the degree. Ananda Murari, when he finished his college degree recently, I said, so how was school? He said, well, I had this realization, education is what you make of it. You go to school, you can read a book, whatever, but it's what you put into it yourself that counts. That's what you get out of it, he said. That really inspired me. I said, wow, I better get serious about life. You know, this is a powerful point. Hey, thank you. This is like the old days. Remember the old days? We have the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. We're on a marathon to distribute these to everybody. This is a good idea. It's right as rain. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita should go out all over the world. This year, of course, last year we had a campaign to distribute Srimad Bhagavatam. It started several years ago for Bhadra Purnima. We did 7,000, then 7,000, and then we said, come on, what are we doing on a plateau? And last year we did 23,000 Bhagavatam sets. That's an increase, right? Vedic math. 7 to 24, 3 times, so at least. And so then I was telling my colleagues at the BBT that we really want to get Chaitanya Charitamrita going. And they were like, wait a minute, slow down. So we got to print them and make sure they're in stock, because don't do anything this year. It's too soon. So I said, okay, this year we're going to talk about it, and we're going to start putting emphasis on the Chaitanya Charitamrita, but be ready for next year, because next year the floodgates are going to open, and we're going to distribute tens of thousands of sets of Sri Chaitanya Charitamritas, guaranteed, all over the world, in as many languages as possible, just like Prabhupada said to do when he sat on the Vyasasana in 1975 in Los Angeles, said, print as many books in as many languages and distribute throughout the whole world, and the Krishna consciousness movement will automatically increase. So this is the time, the Gaur Purnima. If you haven't already taken some sets, we're practically giving them away. This morning earlier, I was talking to our Sankirtan leaders, Malini and SKP, and I was saying, so today, as we did last year, we offered the Chaitanya Charitamrita for those who want to sponsor some to make sure they go out to people all over the world. And I said, so how much are they? Like $150? And they said, no. They said, 99. And I said, are you crazy? And they said, yeah, we're a little crazy. But that's what it is. It's 99 for the sponsoring sets of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. And they're going out to people, amazingly, to seemingly ordinary people who are just minding their own business, walking around, and then all of a sudden they run into this. Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, everything we just talked about, Raganuga Bhakti, and then all the tenets of the philosophy of devotional service, and extremely, let me see what happens if you're just walking down the street, somebody hands you this and you open it. I'm going to open it random, it's not marked. Prove it's not marked. Just open it somewhere. I don't even know which part this is. Okay, let's see what they get when they open this up and read it. He enjoys the rasa dance with Srimati Radharani, Sri Lalita, and others. He manifests himself as the Cupid of Cupids. See, that's important. Because everybody's looking for Cupid in this world. They want beauty, they want love, but they're not getting it. Everyone's getting some rip-off version that falls apart within a few years. I wanted the real thing, and I got ripped off. That's what every song's about, every blues song anyway. And you know, it's all the poetry. You go back through English history, literary history, and you'll find, wah. And everybody's crying here in the material world. But this is about the real thing. Just as Krishna says in the Bhagavad Gita, this world is a reflection of the spiritual world. And you're getting wholesale ripped off here. Top to bottom, ripped off. Stop getting ripped off and turn your attention towards the Cupid. What is it again? The Cupid of all Cupids? Come on, wouldn't you like to see that? Would you like to see the Cupid of all Cupids? That's a good line if you want to sell the Chaitanya Charitamrita. Excuse me, sir. Are you aware that there's a Cupid of all Cupids? Would you like to see the Cupid of all Cupids? Well, I have it right here in this book. That's what we're offering. It's actually outrageous what we're doing. It's actually outrageous. I mean, we know from Shyamasundar Prabhu that this is the kind of things he'll say about how, the way Prabhupada came in and he just burst in. And he said, we're doing this now. This is what's happening now. And here's what it is. And he just put it out there to the world. You can listen to him and understand it's unabashed. So, okay, what's the deal, Malini, SKP? What kind of thing are you running here? They have an angle. Let's hear your angle. Malini, SKP, work with me now, people. Go ahead, Malini. You're on mute.
Hi, Krishna Prabhu. Please accept my humble obeisances before I worship our God.
Please have mine.
Today, Prabhu, today we have a golden opportunity. We just thought we would just open it up just in case somebody felt they are left out. Today they can sponsor for a set of Chaitanya Charitamrita, and as you mentioned, it is just $99 only. Just today, normally we give it out for $150, but today it's just $99. So devotees don't have to hold back. They can sponsor as many as they like. And we are sending these sets of Chaitanya Charitamritas to African Americans, to those who really want to read but may not be able to. We're sending them to libraries, we're sending them to prisons. Last year we sent a couple of Chaitanya Charitamrita sets to prisons in Texas. So this is an opportunity where devotees can sponsor. And I know that we have only less time, but we'll try to see if we can fit everybody in.
Okay. Oh, Kurnath Prabhu beat me to the punch. Go ahead. 2 sets from a Kurnath Prabhu. Put up the spreadsheet or whatever you're using here.
Prabhu, I just want to mention that I was hearing your lecture one time. You mentioned Kolavechal Sridhar, selling banana leaves. He got mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, right? This time is a great opportunity, right? We can adapt a prison in North Carolina, Prabhu. They want Chaitanya Charitamrita in a
3
prison.
sets. 3
Haribol!
on behalf of Nirkula. 3 Chaitanya Charitamritas for us because Kurnath started at 2. And I wanted to go to 3. Yeah.
Priya Kishori, are you at the temple? We can't see the spreadsheet.
Okay, so I thought about this before I came over here today because I knew what this was going to turn into. And I was thinking that, devotees come to a Gaur Purnima festival, and then all of a sudden we jump out of a box like a jack-in-the-box, say, surprise, we're having a fundraiser for Chaitanya Charitamrita. And it's like, is that right or not? And then I thought, yes, it is right. And the reason is, it's like a yajna. You put up a big fire, and the Lord accepts offerings in that fire. You throw it in, you throw your offerings in. And so we have talked about the Chaitanya Charitamrita and the glories of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But now it's an opportunity, in case anybody wants, to also just put some Lakshmi in the fire. Okay, Malini.
Prabhu, Shyamarika Prabhu just texted, and then he wants to sponsor 1 set of Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Who does?
Shyamaroopa Prabhu.
Shamarupa. Shamarupa is a mensch. Haribo! Okay, tonight, if anybody takes a Chaitanya Charitamrita set, we say Gauranga as loud as we can. As loud enough to shake the asana of the Lord in the spiritual world. Okay?
Yes.
All right.
Oh,
Kanka's got her hand up.
Oh.
Oh, sorry. We can't feel them. They're coming in so fast. Yes, Kanka? Kanka is sponsoring one set of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita. Tarun from the kitchen is sponsoring 10 sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, this is Siddhartha Das here. We would like to sponsor one set of Chaitanya Charitamrita on behalf of Niharika and Ramana.
Haribo. Prabhu, there is Shraddha Mataji raised her hand.
Yeah.
100 cc.
No, this is Dandat Pranams. This is Sophie Mataji. She wants to sponsor 3 sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita on behalf of Ramananda Sakha Prabhu.
Mataji, who was that? Can you repeat the name?
Sophie Mataji.
Sophie. Haribol.
Haribol, Sophie, way to go.
Hare Krishna, Mataji.
You have to make that larger. We can't read it. At least I can't.
Shivakumar Prabhu is chiming in, Prabhu. Hare Krishna.
Shiv Kumar, what's the news?
We would like to sponsor 2 sets of CC.
Haribol!
Gauranga. Actually, if you want to sponsor a set, you can type them in the chat and we can read them out so that it would be easier.
Yeah,
I
and
know
also-
Rupa Manjari Mataji. Go ahead, Prabhu.
If people want to text in from other countries, where do they do it? On the Facebook? Somebody watching the Facebook comments?
I can give my
Yes,
text number.
Prabhu.
Okay, so if you're out there and you want to cause a stir, you can write into the Facebook chat also, or call one of us on our phone. It'll be fine. Satyade Prabhu. I sponsored 3. Gauranga! 4 from Satyadeva Prabhu and Mahaguna Prabhu. Haribo!
Gauranga.
There's a lot coming in on Zoom
What?
too. There's a
Yes,
lot.
yes, Prabhu.
There's one from, what, Hansapriya's got one.
5 cc set from Mandali, Srimantali, and Koladri.
Prabhu, I'm just trying to repeat so that Zoom participants can hear. 5 CC sets from Koladvipa Prana Prabhu, Mandali, and Simantini Saki. Gauranga! Prabhu, I'm going to read some from the chat that came in. Rupa Manjari Mataji, she wants to sponsor 1 set of Chaitanya Charitamrita for her friend. Krishna Prabhu wants to sponsor 50 sets of Chaitanya
How many?
Charitamrita for Vaisesika. 50. 50.
50. That's a lot. Sunanda Prabhu.
That was
Sunanda Prabhu, the inimitable Sunanda Prabhu, 2 sets. You're about to say something about what Krishna just did, sponsoring 50 sets.
Prabhu, he wants to sponsor it for His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu and Her Grace Nirakula Mataji.
Hare Krishna.
And Tadiya Seva Prabhu, he wants to sponsor 1 set of Chaitanya Charitamrita on the occasion of Gaur Purnima.
That's a good point on the occasion of Gaur Purnima, because we just got Jamuna is holding up her fingers. This is like one of those auctions at what's the name of the place where they Sotheby's. Southbees. 2 for Jamuna.
Okay.
Shraddha
Nikunja Sundari Mataji. Oh, Shraddha Mataji, you go ahead. And then
Meera Mataji is going to sponsor 1 Chaitanya Charitamrita set.
5 sets for Gita Priya from Ramesh.
Full name.
Yeah, turn that mic on as fast as you can. Go ahead.
So 5 sets, Nitya Tarangini and Ramesh are sponsoring for Geeta Priya.
Hari Gauranga.
Then we have Sam Roger to everyone. He said, I'd like to sponsor one set from Poor Vanprastha, Rajendra Nandan Das. Thank you. Gauranga.
Gauranga.
Rasamrita Prabhu and then Mataji want to sponsor 2 Chaitanya Charitamrita sets.
Yasoda Vatsal Prabhu would like to sponsor one set on the auspicious occasion of Gaur Purnima by Venu Pani Dasi and Yashoda Vatsal Das. Haribo!
Gauranga.
Shri Gopal
There
Prabhu.
is one more on the top, Hansapriya.
That's somebody
There's
calling
one
in
more
for
on the
another
top.
50.
Okay, we have 5 sets from Arushi and Nikunja Sundari.
Gauranga.
And then there is more incoming.
I just got a message from Ramrati Prabhu that they want to sponsor 2 sets, one for Vrinda and one for Gaura.
That's entirely my fault, but because I ran the clock so far, but we only have a few minutes left, actually, only like 9 minutes. And I was just going to say that when you do something like this on Gaur Purnima, there's statements in Shastra, Prabhupada puts them in the Bhagavatam, inordinate results come from doing it at the right time, the right place, and the right thing. So I'm just saying that it's a big deal, the next 9 minutes.
Maharaj, we're going to add 1 to the 9 minutes and make it 10 CC sets from Sudeep Sabnis Prabhu, wife Janaki, and daughter.
Dheera Prasan Prabhu doesn't want to miss the bait, so he's sponsoring 2 sets and 1 set for Srivasa. So Dheera Prasan is sponsoring 2. Sorry, Malini. I'm just giving an update to Priya Kishori. Dheera Prasan 2 and Sukeshwari 1 for Srivasa.
Balaram. 1 CC set for Balaram.
Shraddha Mataji, go ahead, Mataji.
Oh, it's done.
Manisha's
I
got
just
her
got
hand
a
up.
text.
Go ahead.
Sorry.
Go ahead. 7
I
minutes
just
left.
got a text from Deepali Mataji that they would like to sponsor 10 Chaitanya Charitamrita sets from Arman and Amaira.
We have 1 set from Subhadra San Diego, from San Diego. 1 set, please. Titarani Devi Dasi is sponsoring 1 set for the well-being of all devotees and 1 set for the well-being and the speedy recovery of a senior devotee from Pune, Yashoda Rani Mataji, and our counselor and family from COVID.
I just got a text from Halarupa Prabhu. He would like to sponsor 11 Chaitanya Charitamrita sets.
Who was that?
Haldar and Kumari.
Oh, fantastic.
Kunjri does.
We have Eka Chakrapran got his hand up in the back. 2 sets from Eka Chakrapran. Malini's got her hand up and Monisha's pledged already. Go ahead.
Prema Kishori Mataji, she wants to sponsor 1 set for Guru Maharaj and Guru Ma from Sukhada Gauranga and Prema Kishori Devi Dasi.
6 minutes left.
Monisha would like to sponsor 1.
Wow, way to go, Monisha.
Prabhu, I can see Naveen Nirad Prabhu in the Zoom. I would like to sponsor 1 for Prabhu. One
There is 1 from Yashoda Dulal and Yashoda Vasal and Venu Pani would like to sponsor 1 set at the Lotus Feet of Srila Gurudev and Guruma by Tanvi, Roshan, Venu Pani, and Yashoda Vasal Das.
Gauranga.
Just got a text from Martha Bihari Prabhu that he would like to sponsor 10 sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Gauranga.
Shraddha Mataji.
Yeah, we have Venu Gita Mataji. She wants to sponsor 2 sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita for her sons, Kapil and Krishay.
Gauranga.
We have Bal Mukund Prabhu who wants to sponsor 2 sets for Keshav.
Achyuta Kumar and Aradhya would like to sponsor 10 sets of CC from Achyuta Kumar Das and family. Gauranga. Para Gaurangi would like to sponsor 1 set for Guruma and Guru Maharaj and 1 set for His Grace Shyam Sundar Prabhu.
Gauranga.
I think there are a few, I think we missed, one is Rukmini Mataji. She would like to sponsor 1 set. And then we also have Shri Kumar Prabhu, who's sponsoring 2 sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita for his 2 friends.
Gauranga.
Krishna Prabhu or Naveen Nirad Prabhu raised his hand.
Yeah, 1 more set for His Grace Naveen and Nirad Prabhu.
Gauranga.
Gauranga.
Malini wants to sponsor.
Yeah, Sundarananda Prabhu wants to sponsor 10 sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita on behalf of his family. This is for Sadhu Vrindavan, Vishakha Lila, and Vraja.
Gauranga.
Sophie Mataji would like to up her count now. So I think we have come to the stage where we are upping the count. So he wants to add 2 more Chaitanya Charitamrita sets.
Gauranga. I'd like to up mine too to equal Satyadev Prabhu and Mahagunas. So I'm 1 more for Nirkula and me, please.
So that makes total 4 for Vaisesika Prabhu. And here Manjula Kanta also wants to match that and make it 4 sets. So total 4 sets of Bhagavatam, CC, 2 for each of our parents. So total 4.
By the
And
way,
then here is a huge one. Ready, everyone?
Yes.
Nam Smaran Prabhu would like to sponsor 21 sets from Nihar, Bhumika, and Nam Smaran Das for Guru Maharaj and Guru Ma. Hari
Gauranga. We're running out of time, by the way. The clock is ticking down. And previously, I know I've said that in other book distribution campaign drives, but this time I'm not kidding. Because we're up against, we have to make our Sankirtan offering in just a few minutes because Artik starts at 7:30. So anybody who's thinking about it, get in now.
Prabhu, I think Manjula Kanta just messaged that she wanted to add 4 more, so it was 6 total, not 4. So it is 6 sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita for Manjula Kanta and Shivakumar.
Gauranga.
Radha Kripa Prabhu would like to sponsor 11 sets for our beloved Guru Maharaj and Guru Ma from Radha Kripa Das, Shamalangi Devidasi, Swaraj and Avantika.
Gauranga.
And Sukheshwari is sponsoring for her dear husband, Ravi Prabhu, 1 set of CC.
Gauranga.
There are 5 sets from Madhav Prem Prabhu for Guru Maharaj and Guru Ma.
Gauranga.
Gauranga 10, Gauranga 9, Gauranga 8, Gauranga 7, Gauranga
Maharaj,
6.
small clarification. The 2 extra that Sophie Mataji added was 1 for you. And you did
Thank
not
you, Sophie. I'm really touched.
Gauranga.
Okay. Gauranga.
Malini has hand up.
Yeah. Prabhu, Ananda Mataji just texted that on the auspicious day of Gaur Purnima, I would like to sponsor 1 set of Chaitanya Charitamrita for my grandfather, Niladri Mishra, who was arranging Gaur Purnima festival, a 24-hour kirtan every year
Wow.
throughout his life.
That's fantastic.
Gauranga.
Malini, we missed the name here in the record.
Ananda Mataji, that was Ananda Mataji.
Ananda Mataji. Okay, we have one set from Rohini. Rohini would like to
Gauranga! Way to go, Rohini. Gauranga 10, Gauranga 9, Gauranga 8.
Malini, go ahead.
On the auspicious occasion of Sri Gaur Purnima, on behalf of Srivas Pandit Prabhu, we would like to sponsor 50 sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita.
Wait, say that again. Can you say it again? I didn't quite get that.
On the auspicious occasion of Sri Gaur Purnima, on behalf of Srivas Pandit Prabhu, we would like to sponsor 50 sets of Chaitanya Charitamrita.
That's 50?
Yep.
Yes,
Gauranga.
That's huge. Bhaktivinoda Thakur couldn't find a set of Chaitanya Charitamritas. He looked for years and couldn't come up with it, and now they're flowing out by Prabhupada's mercy. He made this happen. And we're his instruments. And if we just play this tune over and over again of distributing what Prabhupada wanted to be distributed, then we get in on the whole deal. That's how it works. It's not what you know, it's who you know that counts. Gopi Pranadhana Prabhu said. Yes, go.
Sri Gopal Prabhu would like to sponsor 10 sets for all the ISV kids from Kameshwari, praying to empower all the kids for Sankirtan.
Gauranga!
Tadiya Seva Prabhu would like to sponsor one set of CC for Girdhari on behalf of his family.
Gauranga! Gauranga 10, Gauranga 9.
Sindhu Kanya wants to sponsor one set for Yashoda Vatsala Prabhu and Venupani Mataji.
Gauranga! Gauranga 10, Gauranga 9, Gauranga 8, Gauranga 7, Gauranga 6. Gauranga! 2 more from Jagarini.
Akurnath Prabhu sponsoring 2 for Jagarini. Malini, go ahead.
See, it's intoxicating.
No, I was just saying Gauranga.
Gauranga.
Okay, Kautukarna Prabhu would like to sponsor 11 sets for His Grace Navina Nirada Prabhu and for his team at ISV. Thank you, Prabhu.
Gauranga. SKP, quick. There's only 2 minutes left. Go.
Ashok Narayan Prabhu, we want to do 2 Chaitanya Charitamritas Prabhu.
Gauranga!
And 2 Chaitanya Charitamrita sets for Aditya and Aradhya, they are Vinay Prabhu, son and daughter.
Gauranga! Molly, we're getting down to it. You have to make your offering soon.
So
2 minutes only. Anybody who's interested, this is it. The last 2 minutes of Gaur Purnima to sponsor during the end of a pandemic here in front of all the devotees. What? This is a panacea. This is the panacea.
May I go ahead?
Yes, please.
5 sets of CC for my father-in-law, Sri Satyendranath Upadhyay, and mother-in-law, Srimati Manju Upadhyay. That's Radha Kripa Prabhu sponsoring 5 sets.
Gauranga! Minute and a half left. Very tense.
Aww.
Priya Kishori, 1 set. Gauranga!
Bharat Sharma, the son of Pankaj Sharma and Priyanka Sharma, would like to sponsor 10 sets of CC on behalf of Ankit and Bharat. Gauranga! My neighbor here, Charu Nimai Prabhu, would like to sponsor 1 set. Gauranga! We have Nitul Prabhu sponsoring 2 sets for his parents, Beena Harish Shah and Harish, sorry, you have to forgive me, Hari Kishan Das Shah. Gauranga.
Gauranga.
Okay, the last three. You got to make it loud enough to shake the asan.
Venugita Mataji would also like to up. She wants to sponsor one CC set for all the new initiates and one CC set for Guru Maharaj and Guru Ma.
Gauranga.
Two more under the wire. Who's going to be the last two? Then we'll have to close this. Sadly, we're weeping about it, but
Malini, you have something? Go ahead.
Yeah. Madhav Govinda Prabhu wants to sponsor one set for Vaisesika Prabhu and Miraculum Mataji.
Madhav Govind.
Gauranga.
That was Madhav Govinda Prabhu.
oh, Madhava
All the way from
Govinda, thank
Canada.
you. That went right to our heart. Thank you very much. We miss you so much. One last opportunity. Gaur Purnima.
5 sets from Radha Kripa Prabhu in the living memory of my late mother Shanti Devi Dasi.
Gauranga.
He has a strategy. He knows how to do this.
Harshal and Rima would like to sponsor, hold on 1 second, 1 set for Haryansh.
Gauranga.
Rima and Harshal.
Molly, how long's your, and SKP, how long is your offering going to take?
Oh, one smile.
Prabhu, now we need 3 more minutes.
Hare Krishna.
to take
Yes, who is it?
Venugita.
This is Venugita, Guru Maharaj.
Oh,
Dandavat
please.
Pranam. I would like to sponsor one set of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita for Shraddha.
Okay, last countdown, and then you got to do your offerings.
Yes.
Gauranga 10, Gauranga 9, Gauranga 8, Gauranga 7, Gauranga 6, Gauranga 5, Gauranga 4, Gauranga 3, Gauranga 2, Gauranga 1, Gauranga...
Yeah, 1 set from Nitul Prabhu, 1 for her late aunt, Mrs. Malti Shah. Gauranga.
Thank you very much, everybody. This is unprecedented time in history, and we're here together in this historic occasion, and we've leaned mightily into the book distribution to please Srila Prabhupada, and all of you have contributed in amazing ways. Malini, are you satisfied? SKP? No, never. Of course not. But you want to make your offering, right, to Prabhupada?
Yes.
So, okay, if anybody wants to get in this window, you'll have to do it while we're making the offering. You can dial it in, and somebody will be taking your orders while we're making the offering. Okay, Shraddha's got something under the wire.
Yes, Sevanish Prabhu wants to sponsor one CC set in memory of Garima's grandfather.
Gauranga! So now let's gather in front of Srila Prabhupada for the offering of the last Sankirtan campaign that we had leading up to this point. Hare Krishna. Please go right ahead.
Prabhuji, we need that sheet, Prabhu. Hansapriya Mataji, you are adding that sheet. Shared on. Sorry, I'm not able to hear you. Okay. I'll call you.
She texted you.
Thank you.
Okay. Please proceed.
Oh, Prabhuji, if you can have 2 minutes, Kirtan, Prabhu, we just need
Hare
this.
Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Doyal Nitai Chaitanya Bole Nachariyar Marman. Nachariyar Marman. Nachariyar Marman. Nachariyar Marman. Nachariyar Marman. Hey! Doyal Nitai Chaitanya Bole Nachariyar Marman. Nachariyar Marman. Nachariyar Marman. Nachariyar Marman. Nachariyar Marman. Doyal Nitai Chaitanya Bole Nachariyar Marman. Doyal Tonai He Emon Doya Tonai He Marke Prima De Doyal Nitai Chaitanya Bole Nachariyar Marman. Doyal Nitai Chaitanya Bole Nachariyar Marman. Nachariyar Marman. Nachariyar Marman. Nachariyar Marman. Nachariyar Marman. Hey! Doyal Nitai Chaitanya Bole Nachariyar Marman. Ore aparada dure jabe pabe premadhan. Ore aparada dure jabe pabe premadhan. Vichar to nae hai. Vichar to nae hai. Oh, name apara vichar to nae hai. Oh, name apara vichar to nae hai. Doyal Nitai Chaitanya Bole Nachariyar Marman. Doyal Nitai Chaitanya Bole Nachariyar Marman. Nachariyar Marman. Nachariyar Marman. Nachariyar Marman. Nachariyar Marman. Hey! Doyal Nitai Chaitanya Bole Nachariyar Marman. Takon Krishna me ruche habe kuche be bandan. Takon Krishna me ruchi habe kuche be bandan. Anuragto habe, Anuragto habe, Krishna name Anuragto habe, Krishna name Anuragto habe. Thank you, sir.
Prabhu, can I
Go
go?
ahead. Please.
Thank you. Dear Srila Prabhupada, please accept our humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Chaitanya Charitamrita Nitya Karapane Ja Hoite Premananda Bhakti Takta Gnane. Translation by Srila Prabhupada. O devotees, relish daily the nectar of Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita and the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, for by doing so, one can merge in transcendental bliss and attain full knowledge of devotional service. To honor Mahaprabhu in the spirit of Be a Gardener, Gaur Purnima MSF, ISV devotees participated in Sankirtan Yajna over an entire month to spread Krishna consciousness throughout the Bay Area and other parts of North America. The specific goals of this MSF were to distribute 50 Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita sets from the beginning of the year to Gaur Purnima, to meditate on the pastimes of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu from the Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, read and share at least one verse about Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. We will share one verse every day on a Weekend Warriors group. Devotees can turn to share. If no verse is shared, admins will post a verse. Additionally, optionally, we'll try to meditate on one song a week by the Acharyas and collect full contact details for fundraising for easy follow-up. Highlights. To achieve these goals, Team ISV held Zoom calling parties on weekends of massive book distribution, distributing books at different spots such as Santa Cruz. Both adults and children were actively participated in the calling parties. ISV kids prepared how to present Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita online and made online presentations. They also made presentations to North American groups of temples. They distributed 2018 book points, including 10 Chaitanya Charitamrita sets, collected 696 in Lakshmi points.
Haribo!
In addition, over 4,704 Bhagavad Gita, English and Spanish Bhagavad Gitas were dispatched for the placement in motels all over across the US. With the active participation of devotees from ISV, Mountain View, and other cities, Team Motel Gita placed thousands of books at hotels, medical facilities, libraries, and also got some orders from grocery stores.
Haribo!
Team Bhagavad Seva project with Causeless Mercy of Gauranga Mahaprabhu distributed 20 Chaitanya Charitamrita sets to Western families across North America.
Haribo!
And collected $2,000 in Lakshmi points.
Haribo!
San Francisco Bhakti Center team distributed thousands of Srila Prabhupada books and collected 2,650 Lakshmi points.
Haribo!
Western Sankirtan team distributed at different spots such as Santa Cruz, San Francisco, San Leandro, Walmarts, coffee shops, team covering East and South Bay of Greater Bay Area. Western Sankirtan distributed 3,567 book points and collected 2,970 in Lakshmi points.
Haribo!
Books were also distributed at house programs held in Pleasanton.
Haribo!
Summary: all books and Lakshmi goals are met and surpassed.
Haribo!
Here are the summary of the final results from the book distribution. More than 198 distributors participated in book distribution.
Haribo!
I'm reading from my notes here. So just we got the new sets now. Team ISV distributed 18,133 in book points.
Haribo!
Including 433 Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita sets.
Haribo!
Out of which 347 sets were sponsored and 86 sets were distributed from beginning till now.
Haribo!
Team ISV collected total 47,375 cents in Lakshmi points, including donations.
Haribo!
We thank all participating devotees, donors, and Sankirtan leaders who contributed to this MSF. And last but not least, we owe our gratitude to His Grace Vaisesika Prabhu and Nirukula Mataji for inspiring everyone to distribute Sankirtan online, Sankirtan door to door, Sankirtan on the streets. Gaur Purnima monthly Sankirtan festival ki
Jai!
of B. Gardner ki
Jai!
Shri Radha Madan Mohan ki
Jai!
Gauranga Mahaprabhu ki
Jai!
Narasimhadev Bhagavan ki
Jai!
Gaur Premanande Hari Hari.
Haribo! And special thanks to Malini and SKP for leading the Sankirtan party all the way through the pandemic and to today's Gaur Purnima, where we started last year noticing there was something different about the world. Haribo! Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshtaya Bhutale Srimate Bhakti Vedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Deve Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Shiva Jayo Jaya Gaura Chande Raruti Koshoba. Other tune. Gaura Chande Aroti Koshoba. Kiba Jayo Jaya Gaura Chande Aroti Koshoba. Jana Vitatavane Jagamana Lobha. Jana Vitatavane Jagamana Lobha. Jaga Jana Mana Lobha. Jaga Jana Mana Lobha. Gaurangera Roti Koshoba Jagajana Mana Lobha. Gaurangerarotik Shobha Jagajanamana Lobha Jagajanamana Lobha Jagajanamana Lobha Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Arutiko Shobha Shiva Jaya Jaya Gaura Chande Arutiko Shobha Janavitatavane Jagamana Lobha Janavitatavane Jagamana Lobha Jagajanamana Lobha Jagajanamana Lobha Gaurangerarotika Shobha Jagajanamana Lobha Gaurangerarotik Shobha Jagajanamana Lobha Jagajanamana Lobha Jagajanamana Lobha Jagajanamana Lobha Dakineni Taichan Bame Gadadhara Nikate Advaita Srini Paschatradara Voshe Ache Gaurachan Ratna Singhasane Arati Korina Brahma Adideva Gani Narahari Ari Kori Chamuradhulaya Sanjaya Mukunda Vasu Gosharigaya Shanka baje ghanta baje baje karatala. Madhura mridanga baje Paramarasala. Madhur, madhur, madhur baje. Madhur, madhur, madhur baje. Shanka baje, kanta baje, madhur, madhur, madhur baje. Shanka baje, kanta baje, madhur, madhur, madhur baje. Madhur, madhur, madhur bhaje. Madhur, madhur, madhur bhaje. Jayo, jaya kora chande, aroti ko shobha. Kiba jaya jaya gora chande aroti ko shobha. Jana vitata vane jagamana lobha. Hari bol, hari bol, hari bol, nitai gaur hari bol. Vahu koti chandra jini badana ujjwala. Galadeshe Vanamala Kori Jhalamala. Shiva Shukanarara Prime Gada Gada. Bhakativi Noda Dheke Godara Sampada. Kiba jayo jaya gora chande aroti koshobha. Jana vitata vane jagamana lova. Jagamana lova.
Jaga jana mana lobha. Jaga jana mana lobha. Gaurange adoti shobha. Jaga jana mana lobha. Gaurange aroti shobha. Jaga jana mana lobha. Jaga jana mana lobha. Jaga jana mana lobha. Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Nitai Gaur Hari Bol. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Chaitanya Gaura Hari. Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Gauranga Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Srivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gauranga. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hari Harai Nama Krishna Yadhavaya Nama Hari. Hari Harai Nama Krishna Yadhavaya Nama Hari. Hari Harai Nama Krishna Yadhavaya Namaha. Hari Harai Nama Krishna Yadhavaya Nama Hari. Gopala Govindaram Sri Madhusudan. Hari Gopala Govindaram Sri Madhusudan. Giriradi Gopinatha Madana Mohan. Giriradi Gopinatha Madana Mohan. Jaya Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Sita. Jaya Sri Chaitanya Nityananda Sri Advaita Sita. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. Hari Guru Vaishnava Bhagavata Gita. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Gaur Premanandi, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Nitai Gaur Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Gaur Hari Bol. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Jai. Jai.
Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Shri Shri Radha Krishna Gopinath Shama Kunda Radha Kunda Giri Govardhan ki jai. Shri Vrindavan Dham ki jai. Shri Mayapur Navadip Dham ki jai. Shri Jagannath Puri Dham ki jai. Tulsi Devi Bhakti Devi ki jai. Shri Gaur Purnima Mahotsav Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. All glories to the assembled devotees. Go Premanande Haribo.
Namaste Narasingaya. Namaste Narasingaya. Praladaladaine. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada Bhagavan ki, Dr. Shrimani Prahlad Maharaj ki, Jagat Guru Srila Prabhupada ki, Nitai Gaur Premanande.
Thank you, everyone, for participating at ISV for the Gaur Purnima Festival. It was an unusual day, and we all felt the special mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I hope. Kama, I hope. We have one small bit of unfinished business. We're only halfway through the song. Let's go, Purnima. You got to sing the second half. Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Pole Nachariyar Marman Nachariyar Marman Nachariyar Marman Nachariyar Marman Nachariyar Marman. Hey! Jaya Nitai Chaitanya Pure Nachariyar Marman Takun Anayase Sapal Habe Jivera Jivan Takun Anayase Sapal Habe Jivera Jivan Jivanto Mitche Hey Jivanto Mitche Hey Krishna Rakte Bina Jivanto Mitche Hey Krishna Rakte Bina Jivanto Mitche Hey Doya Nitai Chaitanya Puri Nachariyar Marman Doya Nitai Chaitanya Nachariyar Marman Nachariyar Marman Nachariyar Marman Nachariyar Marman Nachariyar Marman. Hey! Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Joya Nitai Chaitanya, Nachariyar Marman, Hare Ram, Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Eshe Vrindavane, Radha Shamir, Bhavi Darshan. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Eshe Vrindavane, Radha Shamir, Hare Krishna, Krishna Bhave Darshan, Hare Ram, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu didn't consider anyone's caste or position in life. Kiva Vipra, Kiva Nyasi Shudra Kena Noy, E Krishna Tattva Veta Se Guru Hoy. He overlooked the external position of any person in society. and said yes, you can rise to the highest level of bhakti. No prohibition. Everyone can freely chant the Hare Krishna Maha Mantra. Follow the life of the Bhagavat by following the footsteps of pure devotees and hearing Srimad Bhagavatam and giving to as many people as possible. His disciples Rupa and Sanatan picked it up. Jiva Goswami laid out the entire philosophy of Krishna consciousness. Srila Prabhupada brought it to the Western world. And Sunanda Prabhu went to the streets of New York City and jumped as high as one of the 10-story buildings. The photograph is on record. And everyone could hear him, Jai Sachinandan, for blocks around, singing, Gaur Kripa Hole Hai, Gaur Kripa Hole, Gaur Kripa Hole Hai, Gaur Kripa Hole Hai, Gaur Kripa Hole Hai, Gaur Kripa Hole Hai, Joya Nitai Chaitanya Puri Marman, Joya Nitai Chaitanya Puri Marman, Nachari Marman, Nachari Marman, Nachari Marman, Nachari Marman, hey! Jaya Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Gaura Nitai, Jai Gaura Nitai. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaur Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Goya Nitai Chaitanya Bole Nach Re Amar Man Goya Nitai Chaitanya Bole Nach Re Amar Man Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman, Nachari Armarman. Hey! Nachre Amarman, Nachre Amarman, Gopre Manande. Nitai Gaura Haribo, 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Dear Srila Prabhupada, dear Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Shri Shri Radha Madan Mohan, Shri Shri Panchatattva, Shri Shri Lakshmi Nrsingadev, if you so desire, please let us springboard from this Gaur Purnima into the 2021 year to increase book distribution, outreach of all kinds, to bring people into the fold of Krishna consciousness so they can taste the sweetness of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's mercy, taste the sweetness of your mercy, Lord Chaitanya, and dance all the way back home, back to Godhead. Please fulfill our fervent desire. This is our request. And thank you for considering it. Everyone who agrees with this prayer in part or in whole, please say Gauranga. Gauranga! Sharirad-vijaja Jodendriyataheka Jibe pele Vishaya shogode Taranmade diboyati Lobo moisu durmati Take jeta Katita sangsar hai Krishna bora doya moy Gori bare jiva jai Saprasa anna dilo baha Shayanamrita pa Radha Krishna gunaga Preme dako nectar verses. Preme dako Shri Chaitanya Nitai nectarine verses. Barhapidam no lower. Barhapi Bar Barhapidam Natavaravapu Karnayo Karnikaram Vibradvasa Kanaka Kapisham Vaijayantim Shamalam Randram Veno Radhara Sudaya Purnayango Parvindar Vrindaranyam Swapada Brahmanam Pravishad Gita Kirti Tavakatam Ritam Tajivanam Kavibiritam Kalmashapaham Shavana Mangalam Srimadatatam Bhuvigranantiye Buddhidajana Krishnot Kirtana Gana Nartana Pato Jani Brajita Sadbhakta Valihamsa Chakra Madhupa Shreni Viharaspadam Karnanandi Kaladvanirvahatu me Jiva Maru Prangane Shri Chaitanya Doya Nideta Valasa Lila Sudasvarduni Helondunita Kedaya Vishadaya Pronila Damodaya Shamyachastra Vivadaya Rasadaya Chitarpito Madaya Shashvad Bhakti Vinodaya Samadaya Madhurya Madhaya Shri Chaitanya Doya Nideta Vadaya. Ooh, yeah. One more time. Shri Chaitanya Doya Nideva Ya Doya Ramando Daya Shri Vishnu Shavane Parikshira Bhava Vaisesika Kirtane Pralada Smanane Tarangri Bhajane Lakshmi Pritu Pujane Akrurastva Vibandane Kapipatir Dasyeta Sakye Juna Sarvasvatmani Vedane Balirapu Krishna Piresham Vrata Mahaprasade Govinde Nama Brahmani Vaishnave Swapa Punya Vatam Rajan Vishwaso Navijay Prasade Sarva Dukanam Hanirasyo Pajaya Prasanate Taso Yashu Buddhi Parya Vatishta Tvayopa Bhukta Sraganda Vasalankara Charchitaha Uchishta Bojino Dasas Tava Mayam Jaimahi Bhagavad Shri Mahaprasadaki Goda Premanande Nitai Goda Haribo 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo Nitai Gaur Haribo 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 Nitai Gaur Haribo. Please come take prasadam. Haribo. Prasadam for all. Let's hear that one, the Chinese tune.